Some might say that I've lived a dark and scary life, a life filled with adversity, one of turmoil and uncertainty. I grew up poor and experienced racism at a very young age. As I walked home from the corner store with my older sister, a white man hangs out the passenger side of a truck approaching the crosswalk. As the truck slows, he throws a cup of liquid in my face and calls me an ugly nigger as the truck drives away. He even made sure to hit me with the crumpled cup. As that truck drove away, so did my sense of belonging in this world. His actions validated my belief that being black meant being worthless. That liquid that saturated my hair, burned my eyes, and trickled down into my mouth was later proven to be urine. What little light I could see in the world grew even dimmer. At the age of 18, I met a man who impregnated me. Being so young, I was afraid and didn't know what to do. I could never disappoint my mother with this news, so I tried it. I tried to kill myself. Over 50 pills, this dimming light, and tears that would saturate my face and nightshirt until I finally passed out. I realized I was unsuccessful in my attempt when the lights came on. Having nowhere to turn, I married the man who impregnated me. He began to beat me for what seemed like his pleasure. He was kind at first, but gradually became worse. He started insulting me, then yelling at me, then pounding his fist on the table. It wasn't too long before his fist stopped pounding the table and headed for my face. Black eyes, bloody nose, split lips, hit in the head with a glass bottle repeatedly until submission came daily. I feared him. One emotion I had come to know intimately was fear. My courage to escape only manifested itself into action when he nearly killed me and my firstborn son. So I ran. I made it out, but that fear came with me, only to discover that I was pregnant again. Another son, conceived in the darkness by the darkness. I was barely 20 years old with 2 sons. With little means of support, life becomes a little more helpless, a little more hopeless. I turned to alcohol and drugs. PCP was my drug of choice. This lifestyle led to parties and constant interaction with drug abusers. I finally met the wrong man. He got me all alone and raped me. I was at an all-time low in my life, and in my mind, I felt this was my rightful place. I later learned that I was pregnant by him, raped and pregnant, but I couldn't give life to a child that looked like the man who raped me. So now comes the taking of innocent life. I had an abortion. I was at an all-new low, a different kind of darkness that was unfamiliar. My life couldn't get any worse, or so I thought. My second son, 5 years old, diagnosed with cancer, the deadliest form of cancer. Doctors gave him 3 years to live. My darkness turned to blackness. Raised on a mother's love, I knew of God. My mother insisted that I attend church as a young girl. I heard about God and how his healing power changed lives. All I knew to do was pray. I asked God to heal my son, take his cancer and give it to me. I deserved it. He didn't. I prayed for God to spare the life of my son, and I would use my story to help others, to save lives, to interrupt the road to destruction in the lives of all those he placed in my path. God is not a man that he shall lie. I remember the pastor said, if you ask, you shall receive. He talked about faith the size of a mustard seed, and even said that Jesus wept. I had no place to look but up. After his surgery came recovery. After recovery came God's promise of healing. My son was cancer-free. After all the testing, all the crying, all the praying, and those sleepless nights, God had healed my son. The day I found out my son would live would be the day I died. I died to drugs. I died to alcohol abuse. I died to fornication. I died to the destructive choices that led me to those dark places. It was only after I died that I began to live. God is a God of deliverance and restoration. You see, pain doesn't just show up in our lives for no reason. It's a sign that something needs to change. If you've been hurt, don't be afraid to cry as hard as you need to. No matter who you are, no matter what you did, no matter where you come from, with God's help, you can always change and become a better version of yourself. Only God can turn a mess into a message, a test into a testimony, a trial into a triumph, a victim into a victory. Jeremiah 30:17 says, "For I will restore health unto you, and I will heal you of your wounds." God has a plan for your life, and He wants to heal you everywhere you hurt. John 10:10 says, Jesus came to give us abundant life, and part of that abundant life is making sure you are healthy and whole, physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. I cried to God and He heard me. My name is Trish. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a mother. I am a grandmother. I am a writer. I am a friend. I am a survivor of dark places.